Just so everyone knows, my name's Larry Anderson, and I'm here to talk about building community and all that good stuff. And I am going to be watching the chat. So please, please, please feel free to throw your questions in there. I'm going to try and keep this presentation as interactive as possible. So stay on your feet. I'm going to be throwing some questions at you and asking you to contribute, because a lot of what this presentation is about is finding how you can provide value in those outreaches. So from here, let's talk about it. Community building, both big and small. Just to go over what we're going over today, a lot of it is, where do we start? Who do we reach out to? Networking shouldn't be new to us as recruiters, but networking for ourselves that isn't in relationship to a job opening can be tough for some. So let's talk about that. Next thing is growing actively and organically. Once you've got this networking going, how do you grow these into communities? And then lastly, I'll provide some examples of me actually doing this. So if I can do it, you can definitely do that too. So first off, a little bit about me. Started my career selling cancer insurance door to door for 5 years before I got tired of knocking on doors and got into recruiting. Started out in the agency side, high volume, all that good stuff. My first internal role was at Spanx. If y'all know Sarah Blakely, ever watch Shark Tank, or if you have a female friend, there's a good chance they know who Sarah Blakely is if you don't. And then ConnectRN, Boston-based tech startup, and then Slalom, a tech consulting firm, before I got impacted by the reduction in force in September. But this QR code links to my LinkedIn. So definitely take a chance, and it'll be again at the end of the slide too. But if you want to connect with me, please feel free to connect. Put a message. Saw you on the Recruiters for Recruiters meetup. But let's talk about it. Where to start networking? Who are you reaching out to? How are you reaching out to them? And what to do from there, right? A lot of it is, we'll just dive into it. So think of it, just low hanging fruit of people that you can reach out to are people that you were also laid off with. That's totally easy. They all have a shared pain. They have a shared experience. They want to reach out to other people. That's how you gain just an easy community right from the get-go, reaching out to those people so that way you can, have those shared experiences and work through those emotions and things together. It makes it a lot better than you just trauma dumping on somebody that doesn't know what you went through exactly. So huge thing. And this can be people that you didn't even know in the company, people that you knew in the company in the same field, different department. There's no rhyme or reason. Just y'all both were laid off from the same company, so there's a reason to reach out, right? So from there, we also have other TA people that you want to, that you want to reach out to that are also being laid off. We all know a lot of people who know somebody, who know somebody, who know somebody. And then finally, job seekers that you feel you can help and provide value to. These are people that you've recruited in the past, people with skill sets that you recruited in. Anybody that you see with an open to work banner, there's value that you can provide in networking with those people. So how do you provide value in that first outreach, in that first meeting? It's about paying it forward. Give something and expect nothing in return. Paying it forward. And how do we do that as recruiters? Easy. We're all recruiters. We can do a resume review. We can do a LinkedIn profile review. We can give them interview tips. We can also say, hey, I recruited in this industry. I am more than happy to help you get, recruiting connections or introductions into anybody that I know on my list, even if I don't really know them, right? So that's the big thing that you want to make sure is you're providing that value and go from there. So from there, well, before we move on, we want to talk a little bit about, once you've established these, networks, it can start to feel like community. So particularly whenever you're meeting with these same people on a regular basis, don't make it just a one and done, right? You want to do your best to make these recurring meetings, particularly with people that have been impacted by a layoff with you, particularly people that you were recruiting with, or other TA people in the space, or people that you have no really commonality other than you were both laid off. You just want to make sure that you have a partner that you're going through these things with. So you end up having a regular meeting with that person every 2 weeks, every month. You do that over and over and over again. And then from there, you already feel like you're a community, even though you're only meeting with people one-on-one. If you're meeting with 8 to 9 people a week, you're starting to feel like, oh man, these people care about me. These is a community, and it feels great. These happen more often, and it gives you a sense of schedule, even though, we all know finding a job is a full-time gig in and of itself, but this gives you something to look forward to that's mostly positive, right? If you're connecting with someone on a regular basis that isn't positive, might be time to cut them off the regular schedule. But on top of that, you can have groups of people as you've been accumulating all of these people that you've been networking with, bring them together and say, hey, I think there's a lot of stuff that we can do as a group. I would love to introduce you. I'm starting this group. Here we go. It can be virtual. We're just meeting once a week and we'll talk about common goals, that sort of thing. And just talking about both at the same time. The one-on-ones, those, how do you schedule those and what do you talk about? It's whatever you feel like at the time. I've had amazing conversations with nothing to talk about with some of the people that I have these regular one-on-ones with. No guardrails, keep it spontaneous. It's all about camaraderie and working through things together as things come up. But when you get into these group chats, you want to keep it on point so that way everyone feels like they're contributing. The last thing that you want to do is make sure that you are helping each other feel heard and feel a part of that group. So as a group, though, you are able to accomplish things better as a whole. You're not playing messenger with, oh, I heard this really great tip from one guy. Would love to, tell you what that tip is or what I took away from it. But they can hear that tip directly from that person that you got it to when you start to do these groups. So from there, how do you grow these groups? They can be actively, they can be organically. So here's the interactive part. So you found commonality with some of these individuals, and these are just a few that I've got. But if you have any additional things that you would like to see out there, just to brainstorm, like what common interests can you share with people? What common goals can you share with people? What common communities are out there? These are just a couple that I've listed. But as a group, you guys can come with more ideas about who you can reach out to and how you can find that commonality early on and provide that value. So that way, as you work together, you're helping each other network with each other and creating these groups. So feel free to throw out any common interest out there. If there's people in here that you see, oh, that's a common interest of mine, or that's a common goal of mine, that's a great time to connect. That's what this chat's for, is for you to not just talk at me through the chat, but also talking to each other and talking about common interests and goals. So from there, we'll go to, and I'm sorry if I'm trying to get us back on schedule. I want to provide a couple of examples about how I've done some of this stuff right here. So from there, I've actually, because of some of these regular network one-on-ones I've had, it really has and I need to update that. It's actually called ARC now, Atlanta Recruiter Community, but our first official meetup is April 11th in Atlanta. So if you're here in Atlanta, we'll see you. I've got a meetup group. Ping me later. I'll invite you. Would love to see you in person there. But it all started from an idea that I had on an unprompted one-on-one that I had with a regular person that I meet with. His name's Alex up in Philly. And he planted the idea of like, dude, you should do a meetup. There's nobody in it. There's not one in Atlanta. I hear you complain about it all the time. Why don't you do it? I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Why don't I do that? So put it out to my LinkedIn. Who all wants to help provide that value of, hey, I'll be the one doing the heavy lifting, but I can't do it on my own. So making sure that people got on board. I've had one-on-ones with them saying, hey, are your goals aligned? What do you want out of the meetup? That's what I want out of the meetup too. Let's move forward. Gathered them all together. We had an hour brainstorming session, talk about what we wanted as a group to come out of this meetup. And that way we all have our goals together. And now we're having that first meetup in April, next month. I don't know why I said September, but yes, we're super excited to have it. Hope to see you there. Shoot me a meetup.com or shoot me an invite on LinkedIn. I'll send you an invite on Meetup. I'm going to be posting about it on Thursday as well, because we're going to be 1 week away. It's already April. Holy cow. So another one is, this was a group that came to me through some of these one-on-ones that I've been having. Is I was having a one-on-one with another person that was impacted by the slalom layoffs. And they said, Larry, I've read this book. It's called Never Search Alone. And it's about helping each other as a group moving through the job search. And we just provide ideas, provide leads, whatever. But we meet on a weekly basis to talk about what each other's going through. And we have set agendas, all that good stuff. I was like, no, that sounds amazing. Let's do this. So I'm just going along for the ride, right? I'm not even actively planning it, but I am actively contributing it and becoming a part of this community of people through a shared goal of, hey, we're all looking for jobs, and two, we were all impacted by slaloms layoff, right? And it's a weekly meeting that we have to help each other through our job search. Just this week, I did a live resume review session with one of the candidates in front of, or one of the group members, and made sure that everybody got to see it, and it led to a really good discussion of, hey, well, Larry, I've been running into this, or I heard this. What are your thoughts? So really great ideas that have come out of that meetup so far. And then last but not least, me again, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Brian, but shoot me a message. Here's my QR code. Find me on LinkedIn. I am very, very, oh, you always be Cruton. That's all about me.